Hi guys, Nesty here. Welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you some PvP and that for whatever reason the crit resistance is still bugged. So first of all, let's take a look at my monsters that I will use. We are going with this Cosmo. It has 123 crit rate. This goes 115% crit rate. Then the Sand Wraith with 95% crit rate. And an Otari with 43% crit rate. Plus I will use a Cosmo lead, which in the end will mean Cosmo itself, this is the lead that I'm using, plus 18% crit rate. That means the Cosmo itself has 141%. The Ghost 133%. The Sand Wraith has 113%. And the Otari has 61%. Otari is not that important in that test. So let's keep in mind, Cosmo 141, Ghost 133. Then let's take a look how much can they get when they are going for crit rate, crit resistance. I have, for example, a handful of gems that have 10% crit resistance on the left trinket. I think it can go up to 11 or let's even say 12. I think, not sure if I ever saw a 12er one, but let's say it's 12, the maximum. And we are always talking about the maximum possible. Obviously the more realistic stats are far lower. Let's say 12% is the maximum here. The right one, you can see I have some 6 stars. And this one, for example, has 13%. I have another with 13 something. So let's simply say 15. Then we have the enhancement. I think I miswrote one on the Sand Wraith. So you can see it's 12%. So how much is this in the end? 12% from the left one, 15% from the right one is 27. Plus the enhancement is 39. That's the maximum possible in my opinion. If we are saying the substat on the left trinket is 12 and the right trinket can roll up to 15%. Plus enhancement is a fixed number, so it can go up to 12%, which in the end would be 39% if they have everything perfect. Of course, we still have the Wild Fang lead, which can be up to 20%, so they could go up to 59%. But I will avoid every Wild Fang lead team, so I'm only fighting it against teams that have no crit resist lead. So the maximum that they can have is 39% maximum. So at least the Cosmo with 141 should be able to hit every crit, even if they have everything perfect. And we are deducing the crit resistance from the crit of my Cosmo, it should still have 103% crit rate or something like that. So it normally should always crit. So let's take a look at all these fights. We will see now if I'm able to crit. As you can see here, for example, I had a fight where I was not able to crit with... You can see from the stars here, it's a bit hard to see, but I guess you can still see it. There is no enhancement. So the maximum crit resistance that can be here is from trinkets. That would be up to 27%. If everything is perfectly rolled, which obviously in reality is not the case, but let's say everything is perfect. 27%. I should be able to hit every crit, which was not the case. So I will try to record some fights and then we will take a look. Let me first of all show you the team that is really the team that I'm using. This is the Ghost. 21, 54, 20. which in the end is 115%, so it's 133% with the Cosmo. Yeah, 6. So it's 18% crit rate lead. Same with the Cosmo. 20.5, 54, and 21. If we are not going for the 0.5, it's 20, 74, 95, plus the 20 that it has already, and the enhancement, so I'm 123. So with the lead, 141%. So at least the Cosmo itself should always crit, always. No matter what, as long as I'm avoiding the Wild Fang leads, I should always crit. And the Ghost with 133% should crit always, as long as there is no enhancement. So let's take a look. So I think here we have the first point. You saw that there was clearly no crit. As we could see before, this Wild Fang for sure, the Light Purse for sure has no enhancement. There is no Wild Fang lead, so the maximum crit resistance that it could have, if we are thinking the left one can go up to 12 and the right trinket to 15, would be maximum 27% maximum, if everything is perfect. We were not critting with the Ghost. Ghost has 133% crit rate. So I guess it's not hard to see. If everything is perfect, it could have 27% crit resistance. Deduced from 133 would be at like 106% crit rate. So in the end it's still over 100% and every attack should be a crit, which was clearly not the case. So it's still bugged, and I think it's really bugged. Like, we are already going for points where we are above the maximum, and we are not even going for fights where, let's say, I have 100% crit rate, so they are reducing it by 20 or 30% or whatever, so that I have like 70 to 80% crit. In reality, when I use 100% crit rate, I'm not even critting half of the time. Yeah, and obviously I don't have to tell you guys that whatever I'm doing when I'm using a team like this, which is heavily crit reliant, this is completely destroying the game. Like, it's really annoying for everyone that is playing PvP, and obviously if you are playing with much more unconventional strategies like this one, for example, it's even a point above. The team is reliant on the crit. If I'm not hitting the crit, this team is not working. So let's go back to show you that this is the team that I was using. Directly to the airship. Directly going for kinds, so that you are seeing that I'm not using any other monster. Where is the ghost? There. 115% plus the Cosmo lead. We are over 130. Should be 133%. So there is no possibility that I'm not critting. It's 133, and even with the maximum possible trinkets, it would go up to 27. Like, even if it's higher, I have 133, so the trinkets and everything could be even higher, and I would still have a 100% chance to crit, which was still obviously not the case. So yeah, maybe our dear developers that said they fixed it might really fix it, because it's incredibly annoying if you're playing this game and your strategies are not working because the formula is bugged. And if people are coming now and telling me that it's simply a chance, for example, if you have 20% crit resistance, no matter how high the crit rate is, it's always a 20% chance to resist a crit, then I would like to know, first of all, why were the developers raising the crit rate over 100%, because then it would make no sense, because 100% is 100%. And if it's not based on a deduction base, but it's simply a fixed number, that they always have 20% chance to resist everything, then why go over 100% crit rate? Because everything above would make no sense. On the other hand, you can try it for yourself. If it would be that it's always a 20% chance to resist, then fight a team which has high crit resistance with a team which is below this crit resistance. Let's say they have everything. Trinkets, the enhancement and a wild fang lead. It can go up to nearly 60% crit resistance. And then use a monster which has 20% crit rate. That would mean from 20% crit rate, you have a 60% chance that it's not a crit. Which in the end means you are still able to crit. Try that and you will see you will never crit, not once. So how is it the calculation? It's a simple deduction. You have 120% crit rate, 20% resistance, 20% is getting deduced, so in the end you have 100% crit rate. That's how the formula is working, which is obviously bugged, as you could see with the very first attack that I did against the very first player that I tried it against. So it would be really nice if our dear developers start doing their job and finally make this formula correct so that we can play the PvP again without having a headache, simply with avoiding every monster that needs crit rate. Thanks for watching, guys, and maybe you are also sending in a ticket to them, so that they are really finally fixing this shit. Thanks for watching.